Hello, today I'm teaming up with my girl ALIESHIA'S Adventures to bring you 10 tips for your next girls trip. Girls trips do not have to be full of drama, and they can go perfect if you follow the 10 tips that we're about to give you. So I'm going to start off with 5, and ALIESHIA will give you 5 more. So the first thing is to ask questions. What type of things do they like to do? What type of lodging do they prefer? When can they pay for the trip? Do they like to wake up early in the morning? You guys are going together, but do they need solo time? Maybe they want to spend a day by themselves. Ask those type of questions to see what is a deal breaker for them. What is something that they must do? If you ask questions up front and just kind of have a conversation, you can get through some of the things that can ruin your girls trip before, it gets too bad. My second tip is to compromise. Once you find out what they actually like to do, then you may have to compromise a little bit. If it is a situation where you will be hanging out every day, then maybe you will have to do something that you don't want to do. Maybe you will wake up a little bit earlier than you want to, and that's perfectly fine. Maybe they don't like to fly. Maybe you'll take a road trip. I've done that for a friend of mine. So compromise, a little bit will go a long way, and it will lead to success. They will see that, hey, she was down for me, so maybe I can compromise for her. Maybe you want to go out, hang out a little bit later than they would like to, but since you compromise with them, maybe that's something they'll do for you. Tip number 3 is to be a peacemaker. So if something does happen, don't let that be a deal breaker for you. You want to have a good trip. You want to have fun. You don't want something minor to get in the way of your trip and ruin a vacation. That's the last thing you want. So just be a peacemaker. If something happens, try your best to overlook it, talk it out, and just kind of carry on with the trip. And if it is something that you feel has ruined the friendship, then still try to get through the trip. And then when you get back home, maybe you continue the friendship, but maybe you never have to see them again, and that's okay. So if you can, I've seen people literally have to switch hotels because they got into it, and it's just not worth it. It can cause you so much unnecessary money. Who has time for all of that on vacation? Okay. Tip number 4, and this is my favorite tip, and trust me, I have learned my lesson. I'm giving you this tip because it has affected me and many others I know. If you have, and some of these friends may not be my particular situation, but I'm just naming examples just in case any of my friends watch this. I don't want you to think I'm talking about any of you guys. If you have a certain type of friend, let them book certain accommodations or services so that falls on them. So say you have different standards. Say maybe they have a few drinks and they are known to clown. Let them book the Uber. So if the rating is bad, let that go on them. You know what I mean? If maybe there's something, a rental car, maybe they aren't as clean as you are. You probably shouldn't be traveling with them in the first place, but we all need a friend. So, hey, let them book the rental car so that if it is left, a disaster, then let that cleaning fee go on them if something like that was to happen. Or even Airbnb, anything could happen. So don't book everything yourself. Let them book some things. Let them book that Airbnb so that if something does happen, they can take that negative rating. I'm not saying that anything negative would happen, but we all know our friends. And everything doesn't need to fall upon you. Let them book some things. And so if something does happen, that can be on them if they're the ones who truly caused the issue. I promise you. Trust me on that tip. Okay. And my last and final tip, number 5, if you guys go out, do not leave each other. This is not a game. We're talking about safety and something that can mean your life. I had a very dear friend of mine go out with friends. I'll talk about this in the international travel fairs, but they went out in a certain country. She probably drank more than she wanted to. They got separated and something very negative happened to her. Not her fault, but if you stick with your friends, the likelihood, hopefully, of something like this happening will be less. It's just not safe to separate yourself and to leave our friends, especially at night. If you guys do go out, We have to try to stay safe. If you're in a group, make sure everyone's checking for each other. Make sure you're watching and careful of your surroundings, and that you protect each other, and that you're looking for anybody that's watching you, or just monitor your drinks. Just really monitor, you know, laggers, strangers, people that are lurking around, because unfortunately we have to protect each other, and it can mean our life. So when you're out together, just don't leave each other, protect each other, and just be safe, and stay cautious at all times. So those are my 5 tips. And now if you head over to ALIESHIA'S Adventures, she will give you the next 5 tips for our 10 tips for a successful girls trip.